A European timeline and its cultural foundation can be discovered in its famous buildings which reflect the history of the people that surround them and their civilizations. Architecture representing different time periods, artistic styles, and ruling empires can be found all over Europe. During our visit to Europe, we experienced great structures and areas that reflected these types of cultural aspects, as well as religious beliefs and innovation. Among the hundreds of historical places and structures, we have chosen a few favorites from each country where we felt we had the greatest cultural experiences. The Dom Cathedral in Cologne, Germany, is a Roman Catholic church that is famous for its Gothic architecture, size, and ability to weather both nature and war. The cathedral, which first started in 1248, has become a center for Cologne's cultural presence and represents a piece of mixed architectures spanning from Eastern European styles to the finest known Gothic styles. As the third largest cathedral in the world, the Dom instills the German people with much pride. The cathedral is located in the heart of Cologne, near the local train station, making it very convenient for anyone in the city, including locals and tourists, to visit the cathedral. During World War II, Axis powers aerial bombed the Dom, but fortunately the cathedral was left standing as a recognizable navigational landmark for the Allied powers. It stands as a metaphor for the German people, resembling the ability to rise from the war and still become one of the modern world powers in today's economy. For the past 400 years, this famous beer cellar has been open for locals and travelers from all over the world. Munich actually included 2 Hofbrauhauses in its history. Duke Wilhelm established the first on September 27, 1589, near today's location on the Munich royal residence, and it lasted until 1808. In 1607, Maximilian I created his Weissbier brewery, adding on to the tradition. Both have created what is now known today as the Hofbrauhauser, and it stands as the beer palace on the Platzel. It was also used as a stage by the Nazi Party to announce its policies. On February 21, 1920, Adolf Hitler declared National Socialist Party's 25 ideas in the hall. He also painted the halls as a child, and these paintings were exhibited to the people in 2006. Today, the beer garden opens at 9 a.m. every day, including Christmas. It can hold over 3,000 people. The regulars are set on carrying on traditions, such as paying with beer tokens, and keeping old Bavarian recipes, such as the suckling pig. The Eiffel Tower was built in 1889 by Gustave Eiffel. It was built for the International Exhibition of Paris, commemorating the centenary of the French Revolution. 300 workers worked on it for 2 years to put the 18,038 pieces of puddle iron together. It stands 300 meters tall and was the tallest building in the world until 1931, when the Empire State Building in New York was finished 41 years later. In 1909, the tower's permit was up and it was almost torn down, but was saved because its antenna was used both for military and other purposes. The tower played an important role in capturing the infamous spy Mata Hari during the World War II. After this, there was never any thought of demolishing it because it had gained such an importance to the French people. When the Eiffel Tower was first made, it was heavily criticized by the public, being called an eyesore among other things. Today, the Eiffel Tower is not only a global icon of France, but also one of the most recognizable structures in the world. It is the most visited paid monument in the world as well. The Hospice de Bonn was started in 1443 by Nicholas Rollin, way before the first American hospital, which was started in 1751. Hospice de Bonn was started as a hospital and refuge for the poor. They received their first patient in 1452, and their patients were mainly elderly, disabled, or sick people, as well as women about to give birth. They welcomed anyone that was destitute and needing treatment. The brightly colored roofs were made using glazed ceramic tiles, and the buildings are iconic of 15th century French architecture. The buildings are in a rectangular format with a courtyard in the middle. Inside the rooms for the poor were 2 rows of curtained beds, containing a central area with tables and benches for meals. At the end of this room was a chapel located so that bedridden could attend Mass from their beds. Today, the hospice has turned into a museum. In this museum are several treasured art pieces from 17th century art, and a wine charity auction is held in the museum annually. The Cordon cellars are located 40 kilometers south of Barcelona. The history of this great wine-producing family dates back to the 16th century, many, many years before the first winery in America was established in 1839. This family-owned business was sparked in 1551 when Wame Cordon began producing wine with presses, barrels, and casks. In 1872, Josep Reventos produced the first bottles of quality sparkling wine with its own identity. Since champagne had been coined already by the French, this sparkling wine was called cava. Today, Cordon-Bleu has become a symbol of integrity and innovation, and their modernist cellars have been classified as a national monument of historical and artistic interest. Cordon-Bleu is a representation of the country's respect for the land and its cultivators. Today, they dedicate themselves to producing quality cava and have wineries worldwide. La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, Spain, originated in 1866 when the Spiritual Association of the Devotees of Saint Joseph was founded in the site where the church was formed. The construction of La Sagrada Familia began March 19, 1882, and has become one of the most universal symbols of identity of the city and of the predominantly Catholic community. Since its beginning, the church has been strictly an expiatory church, meaning it's being built from donations. For this reason, it is said that La Sagrada Familia is a work that is in God's hands and is built by the will of the people. While visiting these places on our trip, a recurring thought came to mind whenever we walked up to these buildings and structures, gazing in awe. These great places were able to catch our attention and pique our interest because there aren't places like these in the U.S. Some of these places were established many years before the United States even became an independent country. Listening to the histories of each place put into perspective how great the European history really is. It was amazing to all of us that we could walk up and down the streets to discover a piece of history that dated back centuries, since it is so hard to do that in America. Many historical sites here have been lost or covered up by housing developments or skyscrapers. It was refreshing to see how proud the Europeans were of their culture and history. They built around these great structures and have made it a point to preserve them, making them an important part of the people's day-to-day lives still today.